Hey everyone, in today's video, I'm going to share 5 picture books that help us celebrate reading in a K through 2 classroom. Now, if you're watching this video in September, you might know that September 6th is actually National Read a Book Day, and I thought it would be fun to kind of make this video to go along with that and just share books that really celebrate reading. Towards the beginning of the year in our youngest classrooms, we want to instill this kind of love of reading from the beginning. So these books, even if you don't use it to celebrate that holiday, these books are great to read in September regardless. So I have 5 fun picture books for you today. I'm gonna share a little bit about each one, show you inside, and we'll just get started. If you are new here, my name is Susan Jones. I am a former 1st grade and K through 2 literacy teacher. And if you've seen my videos before, then welcome back. Give this video a like, subscribe to my channel, and let's just dive in. Hi, Silly. All right, the first book I want to share is this one right here. It is called The Library Book, and this is cool because it's actually written by a 3-time Grammy winner named Tom Chapin. I think it's Chapin, forgive me if that is incorrect. But the book can totally be read just as a regular picture book, but actually you'll see here on the front cover that there are music notes, and you can actually Google the library song by Tom Chapin, that's what it's called, and the entire lyrics of the song are the book. So what I would do is after I read it aloud to my kids, I would then tell them and explain to them that the author is actually a songwriter, he's won 3 Grammys, and we can listen to the song and kind of flip through the pages again. Also, if you wanted to do that for a literacy center where they can have the book and headphones and listen to the song, that's a great one. This book is such a cute one. It is about a little girl on a rainy Saturday, and she decides to head to the library since she can't play outside. Now, because this is a song, you will find a lot of rhyming words in this story, which is great for phonological awareness. You can have students kind of point them out. And as she goes through the library, she meets many familiar friends like Sleeping Beauty, Pinocchio, Winnie the Pooh. So your kids will also get to hear, and recognize some familiar faces as they go along. As she continues through the library, she keeps collecting all these different characters from these favorite books, and she's clearly just having a great time until she finally picks out her book, checks it in, checks it out. And then at the end, she is home, she is reading, and she's having a great time. All of the books I'm going to share today really emphasize this love of reading, especially with young children, because as you might know, when students see other children reading and enjoying their books, it can really encourage them to read and enjoy their own books as well. Book number 2 I wanted to share today is called Bunnies Book Club, and this is an adorable one by Annie Silvestro. In this book, there's a little bunny who eavesdrops on the summer reading club outside of the library, and he clearly just loves listening to the stories about all of the different adventures. But then when summertime ends, story time moved back inside the library and the bunny couldn't get in. So night after night, he was wishing he could hear the stories because he couldn't get into the library. So one night he decides to sneak into the library, and when he goes inside, he is just fascinated by all of the books, and he starts taking a bunch of them home. While he is inside his burrow just reading and reading, he has a bunch of friends who knock on the door and they're like, "Hello, what are you doing?" And he explains about the library. So he brings the porcupine in the library, the bear gets in on some books, all of his little buddy friends from the forest get to read and enjoy books. This book is basically about the bunny kind of sharing that love of reading with all his friends. At the end of this cute book, the librarian catches them sneaking into the library, but instead of getting in trouble, they each get their own library card so they can get as many books as they want. And on the very last page, Bunny actually starts his own book club where all his friends get together and they read and enjoy books together. This one is just really adorable and the illustrations are great. And I really love that they mention a book club. If you happen to run book clubs in your classroom, 1st or 2nd grade teachers, I know I did one in 1st grade. I actually have a video about running book clubs. Looks like this, if you want to check that out. But it kind of just emphasizes that love of shared reading together. And just like we're going to do in our own classrooms, we're going to sit and read and enjoy books together. Book number 3 is a fun and quirky one. It is called The Not So Quiet Library, and the author of this is Zachariah O'Hora. I would say this book is definitely for your younger students, think kindergarten and first grade, but this whimsical story is about a little boy and his bear brother named Oscar and Theodore, and they go to the library every single weekend with their dad. One day when they're at the library, it's called the Not So Quiet Library because they hear boom, crash, growl. And all of a sudden they find a 5-headed monster in the library trying to eat all the books. When they find out that they can't eat books, they try to eat Oscar and Theodore. So they must escape from this book-eating monster. They do all these silly things to try to escape, but in the end, the 5-headed monster ends up sitting down for story time at the library with Oscar and Theodore, and they find out that they love to read. Library books, 5-headed monsters. This one is a win for your younger students. They will think it's funny, and again, it emphasizes that love of reading. Speaking of eating books, this brings me to book number 4. I love this one. It is called The Incredible Book Eating Boy by Oliver Jeffers. And this story is about a little boy named Henry who loves books. And it kind of starts off by being like, oh, he loves books, but not the way you love them. And it's this funny little story about this boy who actually eats books. And as he continues eating more and more books, he learns that he's getting smarter and smarter. There's this funny little diagram where it's like, book goes in, information goes to the brain, belly gets full. And he just keeps getting smarter. He's smarter than his doctor, than his dad, than his teacher. He's the smartest kid on earth. But naturally, he comes to a point where he has eaten too many books and he is starting to get sick. So sick that when he actually tries to speak out loud, all his information is getting jumbled. He doesn't know how to add, he can barely talk. And suddenly, Henry didn't feel very smart at all. So more than one person told him he should stop eating books and instead he should try to read them. At the end of the story, he does end up reading the books and learning that he can actually learn information and still become very smart by reading the books instead of eating them. And if you physically own this book, it's really cute because the back cover actually has this little bite mark taken out of it, because at the end it says every once in a while he still takes a little nibble on the book. It's such a goofy little story, but it is so much fun, and I find that my kids really enjoy reading this one because it's just so kind of out there, and also again promotes the love of books, except, you know, reading them instead of eating them. And last but not least, book number 5 that I love to celebrate the joy of reading is The Mermaid's Purse by Patricia Polacco. Now, just like most of Patricia Polacco's books, this is truly amazing, and I really like this story because it is actually based on the true story of her grandmother Stella, which they explain in the book. Also, just quick mention that this book is definitely geared towards older kids. Think second, definitely third grade. Now that doesn't mean you can't read it with kindergarten and first, you absolutely can, but it is a longer story, so you'll want to break it up, and there's just some more rich vocabulary in here that you'll want to kind of break down with your students, so just keep that in mind. As with any Patricia Polacco story, you are going to have amazing imagery and word choice, so again, if you're reading this with older kids, that's definitely something to point out. But this story is based on little Estella, who was born a long time ago, and she began a love of reading right away from a very young age. She just loved to read books, and she tried to share it with the other people in her town, but you know, they didn't really care about the books. The farmers didn't want to read them. They didn't see the point of reading these stories. And throughout this story, Stella is actually able to apply a lot of the information she has learned from books, and the people in her town can start to see the value in information that she's learning from reading. For instance, she saves one of the farmer's sheep based off something she read in a book. She's also able to save someone from drowning and tell the town that a blizzard is coming, all because she can read. As she's able to share all this information with the other people in her town, Stella and her building, the Mermaids Purse, where she holds all her books, become much more popular, and everyone kind of understands why she loves reading so much. Unfortunately, towards the end of the story, there's a big tornado that comes and wipes down, you know, half of the town, including Stella's mermaid purse and all of her books, and she is just heartbroken that all her books are gone. But don't worry, there's a very happy ending. All the people in the town come together and they find all the books that have been strewn about by the wind and the tornado. They dry them off and they give them all back to Stella. she was able to reopen the Mermaid's Purse and have her own library for the town. Now, like I said, this is based on a true story, which is really cool. So at the end of the book, Patricia Polacco actually includes a little note for the readers with some pictures of her grandmother, Estella. And it says that after she was able to open up the Mermaid's Purse again, she was able to have that library that still is there today. She ended up moving and donating the library to the town of Williamston, and it's still there today, which is a pretty cool story. Now, like I mentioned at the beginning of this video, September 6th is also National Read a Book Day. So it is a great time in the month of September to read some of these stories aloud or find read alouds of them on YouTube. I will have these linked down in the description below in case you want to grab any for your own classroom. And now I want to know from you, have you read any of these books? Which ones do you like? Which ones do you love? Are any of them new? And if you have any other books you love to read about reading itself, drop them down in the comments below. I love to read other book suggestions from teachers. I'm always on the hunt for lots of new books to add to the collection. As always, I hope you enjoyed this video. Give it a thumbs up if you did. Make sure you are subscribed to my channel and click that bell. That bell gives you an email every single time I send out a new video, which are Thursday and Sunday mornings. So be sure to join me on this fun YouTube adventure, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.